All right. Okay. My favorite type of question is we're going to talk about today. It's a type. It's a we're talking about. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to describe a case, and then you tell me what it is. Right? You have an old guy who's had a lot of diarrhea, weight loss for the past, let's say, 6 months, watery diarrhea. You know, uh, we also notice that he has low acid in his stomach, but he doesn't take any PPIs, right? Just has low acid naturally. And then because of the diabetes, he also has hypokalemia on blood work. What is your diagnosis? I hope you're saying he has a vipoma, VIPoma. Okay. I want to talk about the pancreatic tumors today. One of them is vipoma. I'm gonna just write there what it secretes, right? Some of them insulinoma, right? Glucagonoma, or I don't know what this one's called, but basically it secretes glucagon. Uh, Gastrinoma. What else? Uh, and whatever else you can have a tumor for in the pancreas, right? So, this is also called ZE syndrome. I don't know what like ZE syndrome. So, you can also have somatostatinoma. Lipoma has a triad. I just described it. You have watery diarrhea. You have actually, I'm sorry. Potassium is low, and you have HCl is low, right? Achlorhydria, right? No HCl, no stomach acid. Insulinoma, what are you gonna have with insulinoma? You have high insulin, but more importantly, or just as important, you have high C-peptide. This tells you that the insulin is produced by the insulin, not just injected, right? Glucagon, and so you have what? You have low glucose here, right? Low glucose. For your glucagon, it's like the opposite. So you have high glucose, but glucagon does other stuff, right? The glucagon is high yield to know that it causes like cutaneous lesions, so necrotic, and they're necrotic, so they're dead. Cutaneous lesions, right? Gastrinoma, it's gastrin, so high acid, so you get GERD, you get, ulcers, both in the stomach and the duodenum, but also you get a thickened stomach lining, right? Somatostatinoma is a little interesting to me because statin comes from stasis, right? It makes all secretions stop, right? And somato means, I don't know what exactly it means, but it gives me a vibe of like everything, right? Like somatotropin, like the growth hormone that causes everything to grow. I don't know if it actually means everything, but so it stops everything. That's what I think about it. So it stops insulin, it stops your gastrin. So you have like probably one thing you can know it by is that you have low insulin, so it causes diabetes. It leads to diabetes, right? Probably leads to malabsorption because you're not secreting enough, right, from your pancreas because it also stops those secretions, right? All right. So, but what is the interesting point here? Shit, I don't even know how long I've gone by. The interesting point isn't these. The interesting point is that the question is going to give you one of these. You're going to have to diagnose it well, right? And then it's going to be a men question. It's going to be a men 1, men 2B, and 2A. And the thing is, if you don't think of a men question or if a men question doesn't come to your mind, if the men syndrome doesn't come to your mind when you see one of these, you're not going to get it on the exam because it's just not going to make any sense at all. Okay? So always watch out for men questions, right? And then I'm going to add another note. Uh, and that's autoimmunities, right? So also if they describe, oh, the person has hypothyroidism and like it's kind of idiopathic, in the back of your mind have, okay, this person has some autoimmune process that led to the hypothyroidism. They might develop diabetes mellitus type 1. They might develop, it might go to the adrenals right now. They might develop something like Addison's, right? So connect the autoimmunities, also connect the meds. Always have it in the back of your mind because if there's a question that doesn't make any fucking sense to you, it's probably one of these two, right? Or something else. But be really suspicious of questions like that. And let's talk about men a little. So I mean, you do have the chart everywhere, right? But I want to kind of like walk through it. Men 2A and men 2B. All right, so the first one is, I think, yeah, 4Ps. The second one is 2Ps and M. And then this one is P, M, M. I draw this out, right? I'm pretty good at this one, but I still draw it out because I don't want to make stupid mistakes, right? Okay. Also, for this one, the gene is men, I think. This one, these two, the gene is ret. Uh, okay. This, pituitary, right? So let's say they describe a guy who has, surprise, surprise, a prolactinoma, right? Anything pituitary. It can be a man one, and then you gotta watch out for what, like pancreatic tumors, for example, right? So pancreatic. So imagine one random tumor in the pancreas, right? You get diagnosed, and you gotta predict another random, because pituitary can have multiple tumors too, and they have different presentations. Some of them are small, some of them have big mass, some of them, and like the mass causes bilateral heminopsia or bitemporal heminopsia. Some of them don't. So it can be a pretty tricky question if you're not thinking of a man already, right? So be suspicious of those. The other is parathyroid. So what? You can have high calcium, but they're not gonna tell you that you have high calcium. They're gonna be like, the guy has that constipation. The guy has constipation. He, I don't know, like the stone bones, like has like abdominal pain, like mood problems, whatever. They're gonna be, and kidney stones, right? They're not gonna give you all that. They're gonna give you some of that, right? You gotta kind of guess but also they'll probably give you a calcium reading, and you gotta know your values. So like you see a calcium reading of 12, you're like, that shit, that's high, that's important, like that's significant, right? What else can cause a high calcium? Your kidney problem, like other parathyroid, probably like a lot of malignancies, right? Some of them can go to the bone, release calcium from there. Some of them can release the parathyroid like hormone. Okay, uh, men 2A. So each one of these, they have one in common. So this one and this one are in common. So they have parathyroid, and these guys have pheochromocytoma. And interestingly, these two are common, pheochromocytoma. So like a classic pheochromocytoma question they give you, right? And you're like, oh, this is easy. It's pheochromocytoma. How bad could it be? You get over cocky. You're not paying attention anymore. You're not paranoid anymore. And then the question, boom, is a men question. It's not a pheochromocytoma question. And it's like, oh, and you already lost it. If you're not already thinking about it, you pick the first one, go to the next one, and you wonder why like you got 10 more questions wrong than you thought you did, right? Okay, so the M is the thyroid one, the medullary thyroid. This is the parafollicular cells. So in the thyroid, we have a follicle that like produces what, thyroid hormone. There's also para, meaning outside of follicle cells. These one produce calcitonin. Okay, so these guys produce calcitonin. Calcitonin includes calcium, but this won't be that like relevant. What will be relevant is that they'll be like, oh, this guy had a mass in the thyroid. They removed it like years ago, right? That's a medullary thyroid tumor. What's also important is if you diagnose a men 2A or a men 2B, you gotta remove the thyroid because it's too much of a risk. So they might be like, they have probably not in 3 questions, but maybe in your world they might be like, oh, the guy had thyroid, like they removed their thyroid because of family problems. This is what they're talking about. Anyways, so in this path, you see calcitonin, right? Now the calcitonin, they secrete so much of it that it leads to amyloid bodies, not amyloid bodies, leads to amyloidosis within the tumor. So you see amyloidosis within the tumor. Uh, while we're at it, let's just review the thyroid tumors too. So we just talked about medullary. You have the follicular that forms within the follicle, and then if this follicle bursts, you have cancer or you have metastasis, you have cancer, um, and then we have papillary. Papillary grows in these papules like this, like it has fingers and stuff. And when these die, they kind of calcify around them. So you see those beautiful soma bodies, right? This is how I remember them. I don't remember like um what was it called? Papillary has soma bodies, and the papillary has papules. Any tumor that has papules has soma bodies. What else has soma bodies? Well, we added endometrial cancer. I think has soma bodies. And the other thing about follicular is that follicular metastasizes via blood. Uh, yeah, thyroid tumors. Okay, the two M's. Uh, Mucosal neuromas. This is one of the ones that people don't see like described in a question, so they just forget that it exists. Even though if you tell them what meant to be has, they're gonna be like, "Oh, mucosal neuromas." But if they see it in a question that a guy has like bumps in his like lip or whatever, they're going to be, "Oh, I wonder what that is." Those are the mucosal neuromas. Like they're bumps in your lips and stuff, and they're neuromas, right? And then what's the other M? Oh, you have to the men to A and to B share two, right? Okay, I hope this was helpful. I might make another one. I don't know. Bye. Goodbye. Have a good day. Bye. Bye bye.